Picture this. You're in the 1800s, strolling through a gallery expecting nice portraits of dukes looking constipated in powdered wigs. And then, boom, on the wall, a painting that looks like the apocalypse. Ships tossed like toys, skies on fire, waves like mountains about to eat you alive. No Instagram filters, no CGI, just Turner, casually inventing disaster movies on canvas. JMW Turner wasn't painting landscapes. He was detonating them. While everyone else was politely capturing cows and meadows, Turner was out here painting the end of the world, with a sunset. He was basically the Michael Bay of paint, except instead of explosions, it was light. Blinding, terrifying, gorgeous light. He didn't just want you to look at his paintings. He wanted you to feel them, to smell the salt of the sea, to hear the cannons, to panic as the storm swallowed your ship whole. His canvases weren't polite. They were confrontations. Joseph Mallord William Turner. Yeah, the name sounds like three different people mashed into one, but we'll just call him Turner. Was born in 1775 in Covent Garden, London. His dad was a barber and wig maker. His mom struggled with mental illness and was eventually institutionalized. So little Turner grew up in a house where scissors snipped, wigs were powdered, and family life was not exactly Instagram cozy. But here's the thing. While other kids were busy playing marbles, Turner was already hustling. As a teenager, he was selling his sketches in his father's barbershop. Like, you came for a shave, you left with a stormy watercolor.
Wow.
By 14, he was accepted into the Royal Academy of Art. 14. At that age, most of us were struggling to open a locker. Turner was already being called a prodigy. From the start, he was obsessed with atmosphere. He didn't care about tidy portraits or historical accuracy. He wanted mood, weather, vibes. His early works already showed it. Crumbling castles in mist, rivers with skies that felt like they were about to cry, sunlight punching through clouds like divine Wi-Fi. By his 20s, Turner wasn't just climbing the ladder, he was jumping rungs 2 at a time. Patrons lined up. The Royal Academy adored him. He was hailed as the painter of light, long before he'd gone full pyromaniac with his sunsets. It was official. Turner was that rare combo of genius and showman, the guy who made landscapes exciting. But, and there's always a but, the more experimental he got, the more critics started sharpening their knives. Turner didn't just paint landscapes. He painted weather events. His canvases felt like someone opened a window during a hurricane and just let the sky rip through. He was obsessed with storms. Shipwrecks became his bread and butter. Tiny boats tossed around like paper scraps, swallowed by tidal waves under skies that looked like the world was ending. Patrons would look at these paintings and probably feel seasick just standing there. But it wasn't all doom. Turner worshipped light. Sunrises, sunsets, the golden shimmer off water. He treated light like it was a living character. Sometimes it was gentle, like a halo glowing over a cathedral. Sometimes it was violent, burning red like the sky itself was on fire. His work wasn't about the objects. Half the time you can barely make out the boats or trains or figures. It was about what the atmosphere was doing. Imagine living in the early 1800s, when the height of entertainment was maybe a puppet show. And then you see Turner's Snowstorm. It's a canvas that practically screams at you with wind and waves. Critics laughed at it, called it chaotic. But Turner doubled down. He once even claimed he had himself tied to a ship's mast during a storm just to feel what it was like. Whether that's true or just Turner flexing, the point is, this guy lived for the drama of the elements. He was basically inventing IMAX before IMAX. His paintings weren't meant to be glanced at politely. They were meant to engulf you, to drown you, to blind you. They weren't landscapes, they were experiences. Turner didn't just crank out pretty pictures. He made cultural earthquakes. Let's hit the highlight reel. The Fighting Temeraire, 1839. A glorious warship being towed by a dirty little steam tug to the scrapyard. It's not just a boat, it's a whole metaphor. Old world grandeur being dragged off by the gritty industrial future. People cried when they saw it. Critics called it a national treasure. Turner basically painted nostalgia itself. The Slave Ship, 1840. Brutal. A ship sailing away as slaves are thrown overboard into the raging sea, chained and drowning. The sky is bleeding red. The waves look alive, and the whole canvas screams horror. Turner's way of saying, "You can't look away from this." Critics were uncomfortable. Too real, too messy. But that's the point. Rain, steam, and speed, 1844. A steam locomotive barreling across a bridge. So fast it looks like the canvas itself is vibrating. The train's a blur, almost ghostly. Look closely and there's a rabbit on the tracks. Nature about to get crushed by progress. Turner painted the Industrial Revolution like it was a sci-fi movie. Snowstorm, 1842. Supposedly painted after he tied himself to a mast in a storm. The result? Chaos on canvas. Whirling clouds, crashing waves, a vortex of nature eating a boat whole. Critics called it whitewash. Turner called it truth. The wilder Turner's canvases got, the less the critics understood them. Early on, they called him a prodigy. Later, when his sunsets looked like the sky itself was melting, reviewers said, "Is this genius? Or did a toddler spill soup?" One critic called him a painter of soapsuds and whitewash. Another compared his works to accidents of spilled paint. And yeah, if you squint, his late works do look kinda abstract. Blobs of color, blurred edges, dissolving forms. But that was the point. Turner was painting vibes, not details. And Turner, he did not care. He was eccentric to the bone, grouchy, secretive, awkward in public. He hoarded money, mumbled in public, refused to explain his art. He was like the grumpy old man at the end of the street, except instead of yelling at kids to get off his lawn, he was out here inventing modern art. He lived reclusively, disappearing from society while still producing works that looked like they belonged to the 20th century. People laughed at him, but he was busy rewriting art's future. In his later years, Turner went full enigma. The meticulous landscapes were gone, replaced with pure storms of color. The art world whispered, "Genius or madness?" Turner shrugged and kept painting fire. He lived almost in secret under an alias, Mr. Booth, with a widow named Sophia Booth in Chelsea. Imagine one of the most famous painters in Britain sneaking around docks under a fake name, painting sunsets like an undercover wizard. But he never stopped. His canvases got brighter, wilder, almost abstract. Suns melting horizons, storms devouring earth. Critics hated them. Today they look prophetic. Impressionism, abstraction, modern art. Turner was there first. He died in 1851. His alleged last words, "The sun is God." The perfect mic drop for a man who worshipped light till the end. When Turner died, critics were split. Genius or lunatic? History decided genius. His late works became the blueprint for Impressionism. Monet, Renoir, Van Gogh, all owed him a debt.
Thank you.
Without Turner, no water lilies, no starry nights. Today, his masterpieces hang in Tate Britain and the National Gallery. The Fighting Temeraire was even voted Britain's greatest painting. His works still glow, still roar, still burn centuries later. And remember that last line? "The sun is God." That wasn't poetry. It was his whole philosophy. Light wasn't just brightness. It was divinity. So if Monet was the chaser of light and Rembrandt was the master of shadow, then Turner was the arsonist, the guy who set the sky on fire and made us watch in awe. He didn't paint landscapes. He painted the sublime, that overwhelming mix of terror and beauty that makes you forget to breathe. And that's why Turner's storms are still raging, his suns still blazing, 2 centuries later.